Good morning and welcome to Coffee Ann, the longest-running panel discussion show in American radio. To make a comment or ask a question to the panel, call 401-766-1240 or email coffee@woonsocketradio.com. And now, let's join the Coffee Ann panel.
And good morning to you. It's Thursday morning. It's March 16th. Thanks for joining us here on the Coffee Ann program. My name is Joe Callahan. At the Coffee Ann table with me this morning on this Thursday, Dave Richards. Hello, Dave.
The second string has been called in.
Yeah, because let's see who else is here. Okay, nobody. Well, this is what goes on. Usually on a Thursday, we got Attorney Bob Lauder. We have Emily Hayden-Sheen from The Call, and sometimes Scott McGee.
That's
from,
right.
Stearns McGee Remix.
Last night, Scott gave us a heads up. He says, Dave, busy day.
Can't do it.
Don't expect to see me. You'll have to play the recording. Okay,
Right.
No problem. Then,
This morning,
later on
we
this morning, we got a phone call from
Emily.
Right.
She's not feeling well.
Ah.
So we don't want her coming in here and spreading germs.
No,
And
we
she
don't
did
wanna
not
do
sound
that.
good on the phone, so she's out. And then a little later on, we get a call from Bob.
Yes.
He's in Boston.
Okay.
I think on some legal thing or whatever.
Whatever.
So that's where he is. So it's me and Dave. And
So
then
Bob said he'd be late. See you next week.
Really late, yeah. But
Yeah.
coming up around 8:30, we're going to be joined by, unless he's sick, we'll see.
No. We don't want that.
Woonsocket, from the Woonsocket Police Department, Deputy Chief Tom Caloro
Yeah.
will be joining us. So that'll be fun. So in the meantime,
He's a great guy.
Dave
Always
and I.
full of excitement.
And it's too bad Em couldn't be here
That's right.
because I wanted to start off the program before we get to the real local stuff.
Yeah.
And just wanted her take on on what the Patriots did yesterday, because I'm very excited, Dave.
Really?
Yes.
Why are you excited?
Because they signed a very, very good wide receiver.
Has he
Juju
got skills
Smith.
or is he just
He's
sellable?
got skills.
He turns empty seats into filled seats.
Well, there's always filled seats at Gillette Stadium. That's
Yeah,
not
that's
a
right.
problem. But this guy can catch the ball. Juju Smith-Schuster. Spent the first 5 or 6 years.
You
That's
want
his
me
name.
to take him seriously with a
That's
name
his
like
name. His name is Juju. J-U-J-U. That's his first name.
I see.
So anyway, he spent the first. When you have a name like that, you better be good at sports.
I guess so.
And he is. And he spent the first 5 or 6 years in Pittsburgh and did well there. Then he left and he went to Kansas City and helped win the Super Bowl last year with Kansas City. And now he's over here with us. So
Wait a minute.
we're looking
Wait
forward
a
to
minute.
this.
What's wrong with this picture?
I don't know. Looks okay to me.
The guy's named Juju, so you better be good at sports. So he goes to the first team. He leaves and goes to another team.
Well, yeah, more
wins
money.
the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Doesn't even play another game after winning the Super Bowl and comes to the Patriots. What's going on here? Damaged goods?
Money.
Oh, the Patriots have they got some shekels to
Yeah,
throw at him.
because they took their old wide receiver.
And you're telling me that a Super Bowl winning team doesn't have money to throw at him?
Well, I guess Kansas City only signed him for 1 year,
Oh, I see.
which happens.
Yeah, I
And so
suppose so.
okay, and now what do you want to do? So, and the Patriots just let probably their best wide receiver go
Yeah.
to free agency, and he signed with the Raiders.
Well, you
Jacoby Myers.
say let go, but
Well,
there's always more to that story.
Well, there is, and they said, here's the deal we want to give you. But in the background, they're really working on getting Juju to come here. So if you go sign with somebody else, it really doesn't matter because we're going to get this other guy to replace you. So,
Yeah.
so and most people are happy about this. And what I've seen most people talking about, okay, this is good, but we really need a quarterback that can get him the ball. He's going to
Good
do
point.
nothing if he's just running downfield and the ball doesn't come to him. Good point. So that's what's going on with the Patriots. I'm very happy with the signing of Juju Smith-Schuster coming to the New England Patriots. Patriots doing other stuff in free agency as well. Looking like they try to get back to where they were a few years ago. So, all right, locally now, Dave. Oh, before we get to that, the Call newspaper is the sponsor of this segment of the Coffee and
Probably a
program.
good
So
idea we play a message.
Let's get a message from the Call.
Do you have an upcoming event or newsworthy item that you feel your local daily newspaper should cover? Just email us at notices@woonsocketcall.com. That's notices@woonsocketcall.com. Or call us today at 767-8550. With over 50,000 local readers in print and online, The Call and woonsocketcall.com is your trusted daily local news source for important local news and happenings. Again, that number is 767-8550. The email address, notices@woonsocketcall.com. The Call, and Woonsocketcall.com, your daily local information source for the news you want to know.
All right, it's Coffee Ann here on ON, AM, and FM. Thanks for joining us, and our thanks to The Call for being a sponsor of the first segment of the Coffee Ann program. So we got Dave got the call yesterday from the mayor. Lisa Bolelli Hunt said, Dave, we want you down here at City Hall. In her office?
In her office
For a press conference. Didn't know what it was going to be about.
I asked. I said, do you want to tell me what it's about? She said, no.
No, let it be a surprise. So Dave went down there, and the surprise is that Woonsocket Fire Chief Paul Shatraw is going to retire at the end of the month.
Yes.
Wow.
Those of us in the know had been hearing some rumblings about this, but nothing was confirmed. And yesterday, however, that all changed.
Right. And the end of the month, I mean, this is in 2 weeks, is his last day.
Yeah.
March 31st.
Actually, I don't know this for a fact, but I wouldn't be surprised if Paul, who hardly ever takes any time off,
he's got a lot of time.
had a little time off coming.
So he might already be done.
He may not be doing. I didn't ask him. It wasn't appropriate. It was a celebratory time.
Right.
So it wasn't appropriate to go delving into a lot of personal things right then and there. Although the rumors were that where he was going to was already celebrating that he was coming.
Oh, okay.
Before he had announced he was leaving to the public. But people in the know knew.
All right.
It just wasn't appropriate to talk about it. Let the man make the announcement in his own time, and he deferred to the mayor, and the mayor chose yesterday.
Okay. And so Dave was there with his microphone in hand and recorder. And here's a little snippet of what Paul Shatraw had to say about his retirement.
About his career.
About his 37-year career
That's right.
In firefighting. Simply amazing.
I wanted to ask you, Chief, what was there about the fire service? Can you put it into words that appealed to you, that you wanted to become involved way back then?
Actually, I started when I was 16 years old. I started in the town of North Smithfield as a volunteer firefighter. Served there for approximately 3 years before I got on here in the city. So at a very young age, I caught the bug, and I just never looked back.
Caught the bug is right, and I've known that for a lot of firefighters.
Yeah,
they
it's
start
just
very young.
the service attracts them.
And that is just it. This is what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And I may jump around from fire district to fire district, but
Right.
that is the calling that these men and women have. No one just says, "Well, I think I'll give it a shot and see if I like it." That's really not the case for firefighters.
Well, you know, there's things in place that are barriers to those who are really casual about it, but not
Yes.
barriers to those who are committed.
Yeah, and they'll weed out the casual
That's
people.
right, because you really can't be casual about saving people's lives.
No, you got to be dedicated.
That's exactly
kind
it.
of
Yes,
thing.
you do.
And if you ever talk to a firefighter, you'll get that sense from them.
Yeah.
That this is what they were called to do, and it takes a special person to run into a burning building.
It certainly does. And as you were just hearing Chief Shatraw say there in that little clip, where I asked him a personal question, he always wanted to be a firefighter. He was a volunteer firefighter in North Smithfield because the rules would allow him to do that. In order to become a professional full-time firefighter, an additional commitment had to be made. He had to go up in front of a board and be accepted into the Woonsocket Fire Department. And I recall that we were all working. There was a group of us that all knew each other when we were, I don't know, let's see, it was 78. So for me, that would have been my early 20s. And like that. So we were all roughly the same age. The chief is a couple of years younger than me, but we're all roughly the same age, and we're all working down at 84 Social Street. And we were doing bread and butter jobs. I was trying to get into radio full time, and I hadn't been brought in full time. I was working part time, and Chief Shatraw. And if I remember, Tommy Williams and Ken Findlay, who were no longer with the department, had great careers in the department, but they are no longer with it. And Paul's the one that lasted the longest because he went all the way to chief. And they were waiting. They had a bread and butter job, had to be industrious, had to make a living. while they were waiting for that. But when they got the call, it was time for celebration around 84 Social Street, and they all went.
That's fantastic.
And they were good workers then. So, any assignment you give them, it was going to be well done. And Paul certainly did that. So that was a little personal comment that we had with Chief Paul Chatra, who's retiring at the end of the month officially. And then I asked his wife, I says, so he's not going to be just laying around the house. He's got a job with CVS now. And what do you think about that, Elise? And she said, I'm very proud of Paul. And
Yeah.
I mean, what else are you going to say
Well,
in a
right,
situation
right.
like that? But the mayor was not at a loss for words yesterday.
Okay.
She had several statements to make. This is perhaps one of the more heartfelt comments that she made after, you got to say the nuts and bolts and you got to do this, that, and the other, the ceremonial stuff. But in an after moment, as an afterthought, I think you'll hear the emotion in Mayor Lisa Baldelli Hunt's voice as she explained her feelings on the departure of Paul Chatra, the fire chief.
All right, here's Mayor Lisa Baldelli Hunt.
So, this is emotional for me. So, as the gentleman said, Chief has been the only chief I've known as the fire chief. And, obviously for selfish reasons, my hope was that, and I'm sure the two directors, had always hoped that, we would all be together to the end. But I have to say that being the fire chief in the city of Woonsocket is a very, very stressful job. It is a 24-hour, 7-day-a-week job, and he was never in day-off mode. So he's in his 10th year. So 10th year as chief, and as they stated, all the improvements that he made. He came into a department that was basically collapsing. And he came in during a difficult time as well under the Budget Commission, knowing that he would have these challenges. This department is a little different because there's only one leader in that department. So Director Gillette oversees as the director, police and fire, but Chief Chatra oversees the department, and he's one person. He doesn't have partners to his left and right. There isn't personnel that is part of the administration other than the chief. And when you're taking on that role with a department of over 100 members, it's a constant, it's constantly evolving, but it's a very heavy workload. And the fact that, he sustained that all this time and through the crises that we've had in the city is a testament to the type of individual that he is. I will say, and I say it in all honesty, I don't know if I could ever find someone who could replace him. And with his knowledge, his commitment, and his love for the city, and the constant improving of the department, and always wanting to make certain that the choices that he made, those choices were in the best interest of the residents of this city, the safety of those residents. And as they indicated, not just being the chief and overseeing the department, but also working on grant money and bringing that money in order to bring better apparatus to his team, and to make certain that when they go out, they have what they need in order to protect the residents of Woonsocket. There are many other things that have happened in addition with the collaboration between police and fire. So they worked as a team, the three of them, to have police and fire like cross training. What is the term that you?
Tactical emergency casualty care medics, SIT medics that are assigned to the SIT team.
So that's something that is of extreme importance to us. So, there isn't much he hasn't done, and I just have to say, like, personally, I did not know the chief before I became mayor, and he's one of my best friends.
That is Woonsocket Mayor Lisa Baldelli Hunt, and talking about the retirement of Woonsocket Fire Chief Paul Shatra. No interim fire chief has been named, and now the search is on to find a replacement for Chief Shatra. He will officially retire at the end of the month on March 31st, and we wish the chief the absolute best in his retirement. If you ever met Paul Shatra, he is a great man. This segment of the Coffee and program has been sponsored by the Call newspaper.
Do you have an upcoming event or newsworthy item that you feel your local daily newspaper should cover? Just email us at notices@woonsocketcall.com. That's notices@woonsocketcall.com, or call us today at 767-8550. With over 50,000 local readers in print and online, The Call and woonsocketcall.com is your trusted daily local news source for important local news and happenings. Again, that number is 767-8550. The email address, notices@woonsocketcall.com. The Call and woonsocketcall.com, your daily local information source for the news you want to know. The Coffee and Panel is enjoying coffee from Down East Coffee in Pawtucket. They're a 62-year-old family business that roasts all its coffee right here in Rhode Island. Founded originally as Excellent Coffee Company, they provide great coffee to food service establishments throughout New England.
Have you heard of Scott McGee with Remax Properties? He's been selling real estate in Rhode Island and Massachusetts for the last 17 years, and you can see that he loves what he does. Scott, as well as his team, take pride in what they call the fair and honest team. No gimmicks. And no, they're not buying your house if it doesn't sell, etc. Just fair and honest real estate. Scott personally works with tons of sellers and buyers and specializes in residential properties as well as commercial, and he's always very fair and offers super competitive rates. Remember, this is probably the biggest move in dollars that you will ever spend or receive. You want to go with a trusted and experienced agent. Scott is fair, honest, and modest, always puts the clients first. And he also dealt with literally almost any situation. You really need to look at your real estate needs as a business. You want to pay and get the right money now so that you're not paying for it later. Trust me. So why not give Scott McGee a call at 401-639-2906. That's 401-639-2906.
And it is Coffee In here on ON, AM, and FM. Thanks for joining us. This is Joe Callahan. Unfortunately, Scott McGee could not be here with us today, which is too bad because I'd like to get his take on the whole Chief Shatra retiring at the end of the month. But maybe next week we'll get that information from him. We also wanted to mention that Emily Haney-Sheehan could not be with us today. She's not feeling well. And Bob Lauder could not be with us today. He is attending to some business that he needed to attend to. And I am being joined at the Coffee In table by Dave Richards, who's actually out of the studio at the moment because he's talking to some folks that he needed to talk to that are in the lobby. So right now it is just me, and we'll talk with Dave when he gets back in. Joining us at 8:30 this morning will be Deputy Police Chief Tom Caloro, and we'll be talking to him about 8:30 or so. Things going on at the police department. Last week we had Woonsocket Police Chief Thomas Oates, and this week we get the deputy chief. So that's good news there. One thing I'll talk with the chief about is about and Dave had it in one of his news stories this morning, that Warwick Police are warning about a scam. And residents down there, they've been getting phone calls from someone impersonating an officer, and the officer is threatening the person with arrest if they don't make some kind of payment made on an alleged warrant or subpoena. And, these people work these scams so well that when you look down at your phone, it looks like the number's actually coming from the Warwick Police Department. So it looks like it's a legitimate phone call. And when incidentally, it's not. Because I've asked Chief Oates. Before Chief Oates, I asked Woonsocket Police Chief Tom Carey, both of them, how many times have you called someone to announce to them that, hey, we're coming down to arrest you? And they both said, that's never done. If they're going to arrest you, they just come and show up. In fact, they like to surprise you when they do that. So if you do get a phone call like that, please, I know it's the guy on the other side of the phone, on the other line, he probably sounds really scary. And I'm sure he is, and he's mean and threatening, and I get it. And so you think, oh, I'm in trouble, so I got to do what the man says, because it says, oh, look, it's coming from the police department. But just think, take a step back, a couple of steps back, think about it, and if you really think about it, know that the police never announce that they're coming to arrest you. So right then, that's the red flag. And then again, the other red flag is where you have to pay money to get rid of a subpoena or a warrant. That's also not true. That never happens. And when they say, okay, we want you to wire the money or go buy gift cards, that's another. Those are three big red flags right there. That this is just all fake and just cannot be done at all. So please, if you do get the calls, if you never know when these scams start making their way around the state. And okay, they've gotten so much money, or they're onto us down here in Warwick. They'll just move on to another municipality. Maybe they go to Cranston next, or maybe they maybe they go down to South County and go to Charlestown, or maybe they start swinging up this way and go to Pawtucket, and then maybe they head here to Woonsocket. So just, I know it looks real when you're looking at your phone and it says, oh, Woonsocket PD is calling me. I wonder why. But you know what you've done in your life, and you know if there's not an outstanding warrant against you, why would the Woonsocket police be looking for money? So please don't fall for it. It's just something that well, first of all, it's illegal anyway, what they're doing. But just don't fall for it. And you could always say, and tell them I told you this, okay, if you're going to arrest me, come on down. And then hang up the phone. And 100% of the time, they're not coming. So just a little public service announcements from here at us at ON Radio. All right, the other good news is that the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, NOAA for short, NOAA, is moving. Right now they're based out of Virginia, but this Marine Operations Center is going to move to Rhode Island. Looks like they're actually going to go to Newport. They'll be at the Naval Station in Newport, and this is good news for the state of Rhode Island. U.S. Senator from Rhode Island, Jack Reed, says the federal investment will be about $150 million, and this is good news for the state, and it's going to create about 200 jobs. Now, I'm sure some people that are working for NOAA in Virginia, maybe they make the transfer up here to Rhode Island, but I bet a lot of them don't come. Just say, well, it's too far. I got a lot of family down here. I'm from this area. I don't want to move. I like it in Virginia. I like the weather down there. And they just don't want to come. So it actually opens up more jobs for people in the ocean state. So about 200 jobs are coming with the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration. It's also good because it opens up opportunities for at the Naval Station in Newport for the Naval Undersea Warfare Center and all the students at URI at their Graduate School of Oceanography, which is known nationwide as just being the best for oceanography. And people come from all over the country if they want to study that stuff. They come to URI to get their master's degree, and probably their PhD as well, in oceanography because we do it so well, or they do it so well. I don't work down there, but they do it so well down at URI. But now that they're so close to NOAA being in Newport, the two can certainly work together, and it will be it's a fabulous way for the two to work together. And so this is great news that NOAA, the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, moving its Marine Operations Center Atlantic, that's what it's called, from Virginia to Newport. Now, it does not say when the move is going to take place. Hopefully it takes place sometime this year, and in the summer, like let's say by the summertime, and everything moves up here and gets going, and everything's up and running down there in Newport. So congratulations, and thanks to Jack Reed, Senator Jack Reed, for facilitating this and the move from Virginia to Newport. So this is good news. RIPTA, who's always seems to be in the news lately, RIPTA, the board of RIPTA is reportedly expected to ask they want full state funding. The agency has been struggling financially, and they don't want to pass it along to the consumer. That would be kind of tough to raise the rates of the RIPTA bus. Some people say the RIPTA bus rates are already too high. So what can they do to make it up? Well, they're looking for the state now to chip in a little more money. RIPTA says it needs the funding to offset their losses And they also need to buy more buses, and they need to implement a transit master plan. That whole deal where everything moves out of the hub down in Providence at Kennedy Plaza looks great on paper, but as you know, for the people that ride it, I mean, it shouldn't be taking you an hour to get from one place to another in the state of Rhode Island, especially when you're staying in your part of the state of Rhode Island. If you're in northern Rhode Island or in the central part of the state or down in South County, you shouldn't be you shouldn't have to go from Woonsocket to Providence to come back to Cumberland, just to use that as an example. Or you shouldn't have to go from Charlestown to Providence to come back to South Kingstown. It doesn't compute. It doesn't work well in my brain that's how that works. I'm sure when they sat down and figured it all out, oh yeah, it makes perfect sense. We'll have a hub, and all the buses come into here and then go out from here. And yeah, I'm sure it makes sense. It makes sense if you're going into Providence and want to go to Cranston. That makes perfect sense. Or you want to go from Woonsocket and you want to go to South Kingstown. That makes perfect sense. But maybe there should be 3 mini hubs. There we go. Put a hub up here in Woonsocket and put a hub down in I want to know, Narragansett. Maybe 4. Maybe one's needed in Newport as well to try to facilitate this and get everybody covered. We will have to see. But will RIPTA get the state funding? Well, you don't know. And there's a shortage of drivers with RIPTA as well. And, you just can't pull anybody off the street and say, hey, do you have a driver's license? Okay, go drive that bus. No. You need special training to learn how this, because the buses, look at them. They're just so long. And you got to realize what the routes are. And it's not for everybody. And I've seen where the RIPTA buses, the bus driver, I've seen it down on Main Street where people bring their bicycles to the bus. And I guess the rule is the bikes cannot go inside the bus. They need to be locked in on the outside of the bus. And they got those, for lack of a better word, there's a cage or so on the front of the bus. And that's where I've seen bikes have been placed and locked in so they don't fall out, because you don't want that happening either. And and we don't allow the person that owns the bike to do that. Now that's the bus driver's job. Of course, that slows things down too. They have to come out. They have to get the bike. They got to put it in. They got to lock it in, and then do it all again when the person reaches their destination, like Kennedy Plaza or wherever. And so that just takes time and takes training. And is RIPTA paying their bus drivers enough? I don't know. I don't know what they make. And maybe that's why they want more funding, because we need to hire more drivers. We actually got to pay them more as well. Is RIPTA paying their bus drivers on par with what Massachusetts pays their drivers for the T? I don't have answers to these questions. And do the T drivers in Massachusetts, do the train drivers make the same as the bus drivers? I don't know. And so I think the people that drive those machines probably take a look at that. Well, you may be living in Rhode Island, but let's say RIPTA, as an example, let's say RIPTA is paying $20 an hour or $25 an hour, but the T in Boston is paying $30 an hour. Where are you going to go? Well, if you're in the northern part of the state, driving in Massachusetts might not be that big of a hardship. Of course, if you're down in the southern part of the state, maybe it is, because it's an hour drive just to get to where you have to work before you start driving a bus, and then it's an hour ride home as well. So that's the situation there. Is that true? Things I just don't know, things that are just not made public to me, of who pays more, the T drivers or the RIPTA drivers. Right now, RIPTA wants more money from the state so they can hire more bus drivers, and they can figure out a new transit master plan. That would be a good thing right there, if they can figure it all out and make everybody happy. Can you make everybody happy? I'm not sure. All right, we're going to take a break here in the Coffee and program. It's time for a look at the weather forecast. Weather forecast is being brought to you by Unbound.org.
Increasingly cloudy today with a high of 48 degrees and a west wind at 20 miles per hour. Tonight, mostly cloudy skies, overnight low of 31. Friday, St. Patrick's Day, mostly cloudy with a high of 55 and a calm wind. Saturday, partly sunny with a high of 49. Sunday, mostly sunny and a high of 39. Monday, sunshine and 47. Tuesday, sunshine and 51. And on Wednesday, mostly sunny skies and a high temperature of 51 degrees.
Thanks, Dave. Currently outside the Navigant Credit Union broadcast studio on the corner of Park Avenue and Kennedy Street, where we do have sunny skies and 35 degrees. A girl in Kenya dreams of becoming a doctor. An elder in Guatemala dreams of being part of a community. Reach out and change their world, and it will change your own. The website is unbound.org.
Hi, I'm Kathleen LaValle at The Honey Shop. Check out our Facebook page at The Honey Shop RI, and there you'll see a whole list of our new classes and lots of fun things to do. You could join us for making limoncello or maybe Zapalas right before St. Joseph's Day, Easter breads, pizzas, pasta making, cheese making, so many fun things to do and learn.
Thanks, Kathy. Folks, if you love food, you'll love the Honey Shop, right behind the Dunkin' Donuts at Park Square in Woonsocket.
All things vintage and collectible can be found at Timeless Antiques and Collectibles. The 3,000 square foot store is packed with unique treasures from days gone by, including rare coins, vintage jewelry, and much more. Whether you're a serious collector or just looking for a one-of-a-kind gift, Timeless Antiques and Collectibles has something for everyone. Frank and Tammy Irwin are always on hand to answer your questions and help you find exactly what you're looking for. And with new items arriving regularly, you'll never know what kind of gem you'll discover. Visit Timeless Antiques and Collectibles, 91 Main Street, Woonsocket, next to the Call Building today, and step back in time.
Here's what's coming up next. Greatest Hits USA.
Hey, this is Chuck Matthews on Greatest Hits USA. And coming up this weekend, we are going to answer the following questions. Who auditioned at a swim club? What song was written while waiting for a train? And who had the #1 record this week in 1976? Find out. Turn it up this weekend right here.
Greatest Hits USA.
It is Coffee In here on ON Radio. This segment of the Coffee In program is sponsored by attorney Bob Lauder. Bob could not be with us this week. Hopefully Bob could join us next week here in the Coffee In program.
The Tiki Bar is sponsored by Robert Hope Lauder, attorney at law. He's not the son of a sailor. He's never been at sea for adventure, but he has dozens of books about heroes and crooks, and he knows how to resolve an indenture. He doesn't have a pencil-thin mustache of the Boston Blackie kind. He gave away his two-tone Ricky Ricardo sport jacket and lost his autographed picture of Andy Devine. If you'd like to discuss legal issues with Bob, please give him a call at 401-762-4550. 401-762-4550. The Supreme Court of Rhode Island licenses all attorneys in the general practice of law. The court does not license or certify any attorney as an expert or specialist in any field of practice.
All right, Coffee In here on ON Radio. This is Joe Callahan. Thanks for joining us this morning and joining us at the Coffee In table right now. As we said before, it is Deputy Chief Tom Caluro. I'm saying that right, aren't I?
You sure are.
Deputy Chief,
Good
all right.
morning.
Good morning to you. Dave Richards has popped back in as well, so say hello
I'm
again.
sorry I
Dave.
had visitors. I had to leave,
I
Joe.
understand that. And before we get to the Deputy Chief, I just want to bring this up that in case you haven't heard,
The parking ban is over.
Yeah. Are you in charge of that, Tom?
Not me ultimately,
No, okay.
but well, let's all blame the weatherman on that one.
All right, let's
Yeah,
do
but
that.
you were in the traffic division at one
I
time. Would you
was.
had something to say about it?
Listen, I was very happy to wake up and see nothing but pavement. I really
Sure.
was.
I don't know if Deputy Chief wants to put his 2 cents on this or not, but the city of Woonsocket is being sued. Attorney
geez.
General Peter Nerona and the Rhode Island Department of Environmental Management is suing the city of Woonsocket along with Jacobs Engineering and Synagro, alleging violations to
Yeah.
Rhode Island's environmental laws due to all the
But
stuff going
that's
out
got
into the
nothing
river.
to do with the police department.
No,
Oh,
absolutely not.
which is good.
Yeah, which is great. Yeah, it's nothing to do with the police department.
So, all right. They just said I did read that I think the Terry Gray, the one from the DEM, says he's been up here 30 times
Wow.
to inspect the place and say you got to fix this and you got to fix that and you fix this, and everyone nods up and down in agreement, and,
Well,
nothing gets done.
If you'd listened to the city council meetings as we broadcast them on the
Yeah.
radio, Joe, and our last meeting, Director D'Agostino, a public works director, took a great deal of time and a great deal of detail to explain to the councilors what was going on. Now, of course, there have been some brief discussions before without an awful lot of details, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. But he says, I just want the council to know this is big. We're working on it, and and you're going to hear a lot about this.
Okay.
So he was kind of like giving them the heads up that this issue was going to blow up. He says, and this is it.
And it has. Now.
Right. He said, to paraphrase what Director D'Agostino said, he said, Jacob Engineering, great, love working with them, but it's not in their contract to worry about that device that we have that's not working anymore. And when you talk to Synagro, he doesn't have the same opinion as Synagro. Synagro's got its problems. But he says, if you look at the contract, that device wasn't in their contract either. So both of them are pointing at each other, say, who's maintaining that thing? Meanwhile, he says, it goes bad.
Yeah.
And it's going to cost millions, and it's going to cost months.
To fix?
Right.
Wow.
We're not going to get this thing fixed in time to avoid more trouble there at the site. So just so everybody understands that the councilors were already advised in an open meeting that everybody could listen to that there was going to be more coming from this, and it's going to be more pain and agony before it was all over. So we got the heads up, and sure enough, a week or so later, we got another issue with discharge, and then now this lawsuit, which is what attorneys general do.
Well,
they make lawsuits, and
agree there.
yeah, right, and this is what they do. Now, is it the end of everything? Of course it isn't, but it certainly is a fire under everybody's butt.
Yeah, it is.
To work as expeditiously as possible, and I can't imagine they wouldn't have anyway. But attorney generals don't take your word for it; they have to do the court route because that's where they live. So when I saw the story, I said to myself, "Geez, you could have waited a little longer." But given that the attorney general is a politically elected office,
look like he's doing something.
because it could come back later on and says, well, you should have done something earlier, and so in an abundance of covering themselves, they decided that now is the time to do it.
I can tell you that the Director D'Agostino and I cross paths regularly throughout the work week, and he is putting an exhausted effort into trying to come to a resolution. I mean, anytime that I see him and I ask something, I have to catch him up on what I'm asking because this is consuming him and his division. So I know they're working hard. I do because I've seen it. So and I've seen it regularly now for months. So hopefully we can all come to a great conclusion with this.
Yeah, well, it may have been just a clerical oversight is the way that we're picking it up now from the overhearing the conversations. But it was one of those things that, you guys got to do this, you guys got to do this, you guys got to do this, and it didn't get done. And then they're saying, yeah, well, it doesn't say in the contract specifically we got to do that.
Right.
And so things have gone wrong. You have a device that is rusted and rotted and is not processing. It's the gravity separator. I don't know if I'm using the right term. But the gravity separator that was discussed a couple of weeks ago, that's what it is. And it's a key unit. It's a pre-treatment thing. I mean, if you don't have that going on, then you can't treat it well down the road because that equipment wasn't designed to take non-pre-treated waste. So you just got to pre-treat it, and the pre-treating device is just not soup.
All right, so more of this is coming. So
anymore,
right?
Used to work just fine. 20-something years old, and it needs maintenance a long time ago.
Nothing lasts forever.
Right, and so now they got to replace it. And it's months and it's millions.
And who pays for it?
The city. And he answered that question directly to one city councilor, I forget which one, asked, all right, who's on the hook for all this? He said, it's our gear. It's our place. It's our permit. We're responsible for all of it.
All right.
Now, it's, obviously we thought these guys would be maintaining it originally, and when they weren't, we asked for them to maintain it, but now there's, I guess, some sort of clerical error that we're not going to be able to get around.
All right. All right, Deputy Chief Tom Caluro, and we asked Chief Oates this last week, so we just looking for an update on recruitment.
Recruiting, yes, that is a continuous and constant effort. We're coming up on the close of our recruitment drive to get probably 5 or 6 people into the academy for July. So there still is time to throw your name in, and that we'd love for people to do that and to get the word out that we're doing it. Law enforcement as a whole, countrywide, is just struggling in a huge way to recruit. I just came back from the FBI National Academy, and the room next to me had a captain from Dallas, and Dallas PD now is sending their recruiters to New York City to try to steal
Wow.
New York
Oh, yeah, we heard about that.
NYPD cops.
To come to
so
Dallas.
they're going up there and doing a huge expo this in the next couple of days, because he actually asked me, he goes, how close are you to New York? I'm like, not close enough to see
Well,
it.
steal is probably not the word that Dallas would have used.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
to make offers.
Yeah,
to make offers.
Yeah, I mean, and they're lucrative offers. I mean, I don't know if living in Dallas is a great idea. I mean, it's hot. You know, it's not
Yeah.
New,
Oh,
but
yeah.
it's
Well,
not New York.
my daughter just moved there, so
It is,
I guess the jury's out still. She's only been there for 2.5 months.
There's we're in the midst of getting ready to close out on our on this recruitment drive. Recruiting is going to be something that's going to be a continuous effort in our department. It's not something that we can turn on and off anymore.
Right.
So open enrollment for hires is where we're going to be. I think we're somewhere around the 25 applications received for potentially could be 10 openings. So it's not an easy effort, and it's not easy to keep young officers that are coming in right now. It's not even easy to keep them, you know. So I don't know where we'll end up. It's still a very noble profession, and there is a calling to it, because you know you're never going to be a police officer and be the guy that's got a beach house down in Matunic. It's just not the way that it works. But at the end of your life, you've made an impact on people, and that's priceless.
Deputy Chief Caluro, there must be some sort of a rule of thumb, and I think I'd be interested in hearing it, on how many applications yield how many entrants to the academy, yield how many rookie recruits, yield how many career officers. I mean, you just mentioned 25 applications. Out of those, could you get 2 career officers? Or would it be better than that?
Yeah, potentially. You know, it's such a moving target now, because we've tried to statistically figure that out across the board, and even in the state level. There are departments that historically people ran to. East Providence was one of them. When East Providence got a huge influx of Google money, they were like the department to go to, because they shored up their pension system, and they were still in a 20-year in and out process, and they don't have a third shift right now. They're so low manned right now that they do not have a third shift. So there's a creativity coming out in recruitment now with sign-on bonuses and things of that nature. But although we all try to hire the most polished, qualified candidate in the hope that that person sees the fruition of a full career, we're thankful if we get 5 to 8 years out of somebody now, because of how hard it is to get somebody in. Yeah, and even the academy. Now, the academy's done a phenomenal job of morphing its program, but it's 6 months of intense training. It's intense physical training, it's psychologically challenging, and it's academically challenging. So to get somebody in there that doesn't get to a point in somewhere in the 22 weeks, call it 6 months, where they're not like, hey, I don't know if I want to do this anymore, and see it through, it's a true commitment. How many do we get? That it'll be interesting to see in the next 5 years as those Chiefs of Police Association tracks it. How many do you get that come through the door, that finally get into the academy, that get through the academy, get through FTO? How many end up retiring? But I don't think it's going to be what it was when I came in. When I came into law enforcement, whoever hired you and sent you to the academy, you could tattoo the patch on your arm. You weren't leaving. Mm-hmm. Like, you weren't leaving. You were a career cop there, and it's just not that way anymore.
People use it as a stepping stone to go to the state police.
Yeah, some do. You know, some do. Even state is in the middle of. They just finished a recruitment drive, so they're going to be starting doing background check. They had a phenomenally low amount, and that was another agency where you became a Rhode Island trooper. You retired a Rhode Island trooper. Mm-hmm. They've lost people to Connecticut State Police and Mass State Police because of benefit packaging.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, all right. Does it come down to now you're going to have to make it one officer like your recruitment specialist?
Yeah, well, our operations captain oversees
Guess what? It's the
recruiting.
deputy chief.
Yeah. Well, in all honesty, to you, the absolute best recruiter that we have in our job is the kid that's on the job, right? So if and looking at that, so I have 91 people. I have 91 people that are actively recruiting at all times,
Oh,
and
all
it
right.
matters to me what they say. So if I have an officer on the street, a good solid patrolman who's doing his a patrolwoman doing a good job, and they come to me and say, "Hey, this is a good kid," or "This is a good friend of mine. This is somebody that personal notification to me that they know somebody that they're willing to pull into the fold of our organization, it matters. And we're faced with that same exact dilemma in the military right now, where if everybody has to have the mindset that they're a recruiter for the organization, and has to be buy into the unification of our mission, that this is worth coming to. This is a place worth being. So it's definitely grown into a major job where my predecessors, the people that are long retired before me, they didn't have to worry about recruiting. You threw an ad in the Woonsocket Call, and 700 people showed up.
Wow.
You know, and now we're actively out there spending money recruiting, and we're getting 25.
All right.
Well, that's the way it goes. I mean, at one time everybody wanted to be a radio star, Joe, and now
Not everybody can make it like you two.
Yeah, we were lucky. We got in when it was a hot profession.
Yeah.
Now everybody wants to be a YouTube influencer.
You're absolutely
you know,
right.
so,
they want you to just hit the like button.
Yeah, there you go.
That's all that matters. All right, we're going to take a break here on the Coffee Ad program. More
Joe,
coming
can I
your
talk
way.
about Krakow soon?
Yeah.
Okay.
Right after this, this segment sponsor of the Coffee Ad program has been attorney Bob Lauder.
The Tiki Bar is sponsored by Robert Hope Lauder, attorney at law. He can't solve mysteries anyhow, though he's a whiz at the game of Clue. But if you're seeking good legal advice, it's worthwhile having him talking with you. So if you have questions about estates or trust or dissolution of marriages when love turns to dust, then good legal counsel is surely a must. If you'd like to discuss legal issues with Bob, please give him a call at 401-762-4550, 762-4550. The Supreme Court of Rhode Island licenses all attorneys in the general practice of law. The court does not license or certify any attorney as an expert or specialist in any field of practice.
Listen, yesterday we were really, really delighted to receive a donation of wonderful potato pierogies from Krakow Deli. I don't know what caused it, but a guy came in, gave us a whole tray of pierogies, and guess what Dave had for his 3 o'clock snack, his dinner last night. And guess what Dave's going to have for a snack this morning? I love those potato pierogies. They always make them with the sautéed onions and little bacon bits and stuff like that, very light. It's a great little deal. But it's non-meat too, by the way. But Marta, when I was there, that's Christian's sister Marta, who runs the Woonsocket operation here with Mom, would like me to remind everybody that, especially in light of the fact that Bishop Tobin has not granted any dispensations whatsoever, you can get a lot of yummy things to eat at Krakow that have nothing to do with meat. Let me give you a few examples as we walked around the store there at 855 Social Street the other day. Non-meat dishes for Lent like croquettes. That's cabbage and mushroom. Homemade potato salad. No meat in there. Potato pancakes. Of course, the pierogies, as I just said. Mushroom soup, no meat in it. Beet soup, and you can't beat their beet soup. I just thought I'd put that little joke in there. Sour pickle soup, and crepes. You get sweet crepes. Those are great. Denise loves them for dessert. Put a little whipped cream on those babies, and they are just great. And it's all part of the great food you can get anytime. Plus, a lot of processed foods from overseas, from Poland and from other places around there. No, they're Polish food. You'll find it all at Krakow Deli Bakery Smokehouse, 855 Social Street in Woonsocket. Yes, they have a place in North Attleboro as well on Washington Street. You can drop by there. If Woonsocket's too long a trip for you, you have to consider that there's people out there listening to us that aren't as close to Woonsocket as Joe and I and the Deputy Chief are right now. If you want to call ahead, it's 765-4600. Say hi to Marta at Krakow Deli Bakery Smokehouse. You know, when you're paying the right price for protection, you just know it. It's that warm, fuzzy, totally secure feeling, knowing that you're not only getting great coverage, but you're also not paying too much for it. And when it comes to your insurance, there's no one better at getting the right price for your protection than Allstate agents Kara and Celeste Benjamin, because they know when it comes to your bank account, every penny counts towards something bigger, something better. Like a nicer car, that home update you've been dreaming of, or a phone that's fresh out of the box. Those little or big things that we work so hard for. And Kara and Celeste Benjamin want to help you work a little less by getting you the coverage you need and the savings you deserve when you switch to Allstate. Contact Kara and Celeste Benjamin at the Benjamin Agency. One agency, 2 locations in North Smithfield and Bellingham. 765-5000 for a free quote today. Allstate, you're in good hands. And you're in good hands with Kara and Celeste Benjamin at the Benjamin Agency. Savings vary based on the average annual savings reported by new auto customers surveyed in 2019 who switched to Allstate. Happy St. Patrick's Day weekend at O'Chan's. That's right. John Chan and the staff over there welcome you in to celebrate 118 years from 1905 to 2023. Upcoming entertainment, Friday the 17th. Yes, those Irish peach eaters will be in. That's $25 to $30 at the door. It's the sounds of the Allman Brothers Experience. It'll be at Chan's on Friday evening. Saturday evening, it's the Fat City Band. They've been there before, and they've always wowed the crowds. 8 o'clock, be there. It's $20 and $25 at the door to listen to that high-energy R&B and let the good times roll at Chan's. 267 Main Street in Woonsocket, of course. On the web at chanseggrollsandjazz.com. You can take out, you can drive through, not the building, but the drive-through window in the back. And delivery, of course, is all available at one telephone number, 765-1900. Get your poo-poo platter, your scorpion bowl, dine in, take out, makes no difference to Chan's, 267 Main Street in Woonsocket, and come celebrate Happy St. Patrick's Day weekend at O'Chan's.
You can depend on us for public service. ON Radio.
It is Coffee Ann on ON Radio. Thanks for joining us. This
Even
is Joe
we'll be
Callahan.
Irish tomorrow, Joe, at ON Radio.
Ah, clever. That was Dave Richards. With us is from the Woonsocket Police Department, Deputy Chief Tom Caloro. And you just wanted to bring up, talking about, it is St. Patrick's Day.
It is.
It tends to be a bit of a drinking holiday.
Did you see the trouble they had last Saturday in Newport?
In Newport at that
Yes.
parade.
Over 40 people were arrested.
Yeah, for
most of
they
them
had
for
alcohol.
imbibing inappropriately. They had underage drinking. They had public drinking. They had open containers. They had just drunk people.
Yeah.
Yikes!
So what do you got to say?
Yeah, so the administration and we want to press out there that we've really gotten to be pretty sick. So we haven't had in the state we haven't had a fatality at the St. Patrick's Day holiday in about 6 years. So
that's nice.
So the messaging is getting out there to not drink and drive. St. Patrick's Day is a holiday that tends to have drinking associated with it. Look, we absolutely endorse you to go out and have the family connections and the traditions of this holiday and enjoy yourself. Do it responsibly, do it respectfully, and don't drive. It's just not worth the ripples that it creates when there's tragic accidents around it. So from the chief and I and the administration, happy St. Patrick's Day, and please, please, please drink responsibly and party responsibly, but absolutely party and don't eat meat, I guess. I mean, don't eat meat, yeah, or eat meat.
Well, no,
Whichever you choose.
Yeah, whichever you choose. You do you on St. Patrick's Day.
That's a good way of putting it, Deputy Chief. But I'll tell you, everybody's shaking their heads side to side on this one. But hey, but this Saturday too, and it's Saturday's a good time for a party.
Oh, absolutely, it is.
I mean, it may not be the 17th,
No.
but Saturday's a good time for a party.
You can make it St. Patrick's weekend. Why don't we do that?
All right.
You could, yeah.
Really support the local businesses all weekend long.
Saw something in the newspaper about those two youngsters North Bellew Street, where the car. Did you hear about that report? A young man and a girl driving together.
Oh, texting.
Right, and so he's driving along North Ballou Street, which, as you know, is a dead end, and so he gets to the end and he's not noticing it. Because his girlfriend says, "Oh, I don't know what happened. I was looking at my phone." Well, she was in the passenger seat, and she has every right and appropriateness to look at her phone. Unfortunately, it appears that the driver was too.
Yeah.
And so, last thing you expect is that a road ends without going to another road.
Oh, look, trees.
Guess what? Yes, right. And down the embankment, into the tree, and they both kind of get hurt. He gets his face bashed up a little bit, and she hurt her ankle, and they're trying to flee from the scene. He says, "Oh, wait a minute, I got to get my phone." Goes back and gets that, comes back. She realizes she's not walking home because of her leg, so she calls for a guardian to come. Now, she's underage, so you don't give her her name out. But the upshot of the whole thing is that, once again, you tell your kids, you tell everybody, you get on the radio, you have the campaigns and stuff like that. What goes through your mind in the police department when you see kids just don't get the message?
No, and we see it. It's not even just kids. The distracted driving is it is
All-time high.
so far out of reach. And honestly, you just cannot look down at a phone and manipulate. You cannot have anything in your hand when you are driving. You cannot manipulate a device in any way. So we stop people regularly. We write tickets regularly. The motorcycles are out there because it's easier to see. We have other ways.
They don't
People
do
are
it on
texting and driving a
Yes.
motorcycle?
They don't
no,
do it.
when we have our guys on our
Oh,
motorcycle.
okay.
because
Oh,
when you're
okay.
in the- you can
Because I'm
see
wondering
into
how
a
many
car.
hands are left
Yes.
over to hit the handlebars
And
here.
there are statewide initiatives where they have police officers in buses and in high vehicles and SUVs to try to stop it. It's a substantial fine if you get stopped and you're found convicted of it. It's $500
But it's on your record.
Yeah, exactly. To be distracted and driving, it's not worth it. And we all have to be cognizant that those texts can wait. I mean, and it's just not worth what you answering back on way and then ending up against a pole or killing somebody.
Joe was saying the other day how your daughter, young girl, she's in her teens, and she mentions that if you don't immediately reply to a text, there are people out there, especially young people, who take a
get
great
offended.
offense.
Oh, they absolutely do.
Yeah.
So the social pressure is to immediately answer.
Respond, yeah.
Well, and then just a regular person I don't want to miss anything. Like you're talking to that 20-year-old. I don't want to miss it. So something's major's how I don't want to miss it.
Ooh, input.
Yeah, and it's just not.
It's the good gossip.
Yeah.
All right.
I don't know. It's
Yeah,
scary.
but it's got to be frustrating.
Have you ever seen this, though, Deputy Chief? Not that the phone is in their hand, but the phone is in a holder, like either in the cup or on the windshield, and they're reaching over,
Absolutely.
trying to drive.
Oh, they're just putting
Look out
on.
the
They're
windshield
just
and
turning
check-
on Waze, Joe.
And,
Yeah.
that's and try to respond that way.
No, I saw a girl this morning putting makeup on. We're driving down.
How many times that happened?
And I'm like, I don't know. I couldn't do it. I mean, I guess it's
You hit a bump, and all of
Yeah,
a sudden
it's
you got a
not.
very different looking eyebrow.
You look very surprised that day.
How are things at the police station with the canine Aspen?
And Maverick.
And Maverick, that's right,
now
there's
I remember
two.
their names.
That's
See,
right.
I only remember because my wife texted me the names. Because I do. I forget their names. I forget my kids' names in the morning. I'm like, you, just get ready. You. It's like roll call at my house. But everything's good. Everything's good. Both canines are doing very, very well. Both handlers are doing very well. Honestly, it's a gem of the department. That program came out of nothing. And Jay Bertholet and Justin Murray do a phenomenal job. They really, really do.
They must be getting very excited with the better weather coming along. They'll get a chance to get out and mingle more, huh?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think we all are ready for spring. Even though it wasn't this horrific winter.
Yeah.
I like the grass to be. My grass is greener now than it was in August, so it'd be nice to be able to stay up.
The weeds
outside.
around the periphery here. I said, I'm not going to bother with that right now. It's March. But yeah, they're green.
Yeah.
I got to ask you, though, now with the changing of the laws and everything, it doesn't change the training of the dogs. I mean, maybe you could speak if you have a couple of words about how the dogs handle this now. They're going to be walking through a park and they're going to be smelling marijuana. and I'm sure they've been trained to react to that smell one way or the other. How do you handle that with the canines? Because they don't have the same reason. They learn from rote and then they remember. But how do you explain to the canines, oh, well, that's okay now?
I don't know how to explain it to my kids when you're at the beach and that's all you can smell. So I don't know how Jay and Justin have the dog decipher the difference. But that marijuana is a whole nother animal, and we're all going to have to kind of evolve with where the state has brought us with that, because you smell it everywhere.
Yeah.
Offensively, to be honest with you.
Walking into a CVS.
Yeah, there are people that smoke so much of this that just permeates off of them.
Right.
So yeah, it's got to be confusing for the dog. It really, really does. And like I said, it's not even indifferent than we were at the beach and somebody was smoking in Matunic, and I had to explain to my kids, yeah, that's not anything that you want to be around. It's just it's something that people should do in their own home. But I don't know. I think that Jay and Justin have a special dog. They're the dog whisperers, right? So they could just tell the dog that's okay there.
Yeah.
But,
maybe there is a special command.
yeah, they might. I'll tell you, they do phenomenal things with those dogs. I was lucky to get mine to go to the bathroom outside.
Yeah.
These guys really train those
Not
dogs.
alone there.
Yeah.
It's the first order of business. You bring the puppy home.
Yeah, that dog ran the house. It's like the kids.
All right.
They're in
So
charge.
we've come to the end of the program, but we want to one more time talk about recruitment. If anyone's interested,
Yeah, please
contact
reach
the
out to
police.
our website. You can go to you can walk right into personnel down on Main Street, and they can help you out and pass the word on, please, because you can help us to be a recruiter for us.
So what's the age group? I mean, a guy like me, you wouldn't want to see come in.
I'd love to see you there. Come on, we'll get you down there. We'll do some push-ups. Be all right.
There you go.
Be all right.
18 is what is the minimum age.
Minimum age is 18.
Sure.
All right. Thanks for listening in to the program, Deputy Chief Tom Carullo. Thanks for coming in.
Oh, anytime.
All right, Dave. Thanks for stopping by.
Stay
as
well.
I love when the deputy chief is here. He's so peppy.
Yes, that's right.
Speaking of peppy,
Yes, Gary Smith and the crew. Do you remember coming your way at 9:30 here on ON Radio? Have a great day.
Broadcasting live and local daily from the Navigant Credit Union broadcast studio at the corner of Park Avenue and Kennedy Street. This is WOON Woonsocket Radio. And now, the news.
Rhode Island Attorney General Peter Nerona and Rhode Island Department of Environment